A couple of months ago, when I first started this channel, I went down to Barnes & Noble to get some new books to review. And on that day I bought two books. One of them was Blood Rose Rebellion. The other one was this pile of shit, The Dead House.
This is the introduction song. It's not very good, but it's not too long.
So let's just start with the title. The Dead House. That is stupid and, no, just stupid. I'll just leave it at that. You can figure that out on your own. I mean, the cover really isn't that bad. Although, is it just me or does the girl on the front kind of look like the lady that played Hannah on 13 Reasons Why? I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell because her face is in shadow, and I don't know. I mean, they do look kind of similar to me though. So, this book, I bought it several months ago, and I only just finished it like half an hour ago. I wanted to record this while my hate was fresh. Alright? So, it is so boring, okay? It's about 400 pages. Like, it looks thick at first glance, but I mean, if you go through it, then it's like, a lot of it is diary entries and stuff. So you have pages like this one, where it, you know, most of it is empty. And then you also have long pages where, even though it's mostly filled with writing, it's all in a weird big font, so it's not nearly as long as regular just typed words would be. So, this book's about 400 pages, but if it were written in normal style, it'd be about 250 pages, would be my estimate, and yet it never ends. It just goes on and on and on. And the more I read, the more I hated myself. Like, I stopped and started, or started and stopped, I think 3 times before I finally forced myself to finish it. And, well, there's no more hiding from it. Let's review it. So this book is about a girl, or 2 girls, I should really say, but they inhabit the same body. It's a girl named Kaitlyn Johnson who has a dissociative identity disorder, also known as multiple personalities. And it's kind of a neat idea because during the day she's Carly, but then once the sun goes down, her other personality, Kaitlyn, takes over her body. And that's kind of a neat idea. And the book starts off by saying that it takes place 10 years after this nasty fire at a school, or the school that Carly and Kaitlyn went to. And the book itself is like piecing together diary entries and police reports and stuff, trying to figure out what happened that led up to the fire. And honestly, to begin with, that's not the best idea. I mean, I'm really not the biggest fan of this sort of narrative where it tells you what is going to happen at the end, all right to begin with, and then it just sort of tells you what led up to that. I don't like when that happens. It's, nah. So, some of you might enjoy that, but I don't. And, yeah, that's it, really. It starts off with Kaitlyn / Carly being released from a mental institution and readjusting to normal life. And honestly, that is probably the most interesting part of the book, at least to me. Honestly, if the book was just that, I might have liked it. But it would have to be better written, though, because the writing in this is atrocious. I'll get to that in a minute, actually. But yeah, like, weirdly enough, the high school, just normal life stuff was a lot better to me than all the stuff that came later, because it gets, like, really supernatural, and I mean, if it had been kind of ambiguous about whether Kaitlyn was just crazy and imagining things, or if there really were spirits and stuff going after her, then it would be kind of interesting. But the book makes it very clear that all the spirits and everything are real. Like, it's really happening. There's no easing you into it either. Like, it seems to all come at once. And oh man, it just I didn't like the transition at all. It was fucking dumb. And then they actually get into the spirits and everything, and we don't get much information about it or how it works or anything, which I hate. And I don't know. Is there even anything else more to say? Like, it's poorly put together, and it didn't fit in with the rest of the story, and it just wasn't good on its own either. Let's move on. So, like I said, the writing is really shit. The majority of it is like just Kaitlyn's diary, with Carly's diary is interspersed in there as well, but it's mostly Kaitlyn, the one that comes out at night. And those sections are okay. Like, there's way more detail than there should really be in a diary, but honestly, like, I'm willing to put up with that. That's fine. Like, I've read other books that are supposed to be diaries, and that they always have more detail than you'd really put there. And so that didn't bother me too much. It was a little annoying, but whatever. But then there's like police reports, which are just dialogue really, and they don't really give any description. And then there's video parts, like there's transcripts of video that they had, because there's characters that film stuff throughout the book, and it really defeats the purpose of a film if you're describing it. Like, it's hard to explain. Like, I read a book a long time ago when I was in like middle school. I think it was The Skeleton something. I really can't remember it. I might put the title up if I can find it, but the book itself was mostly this dude's diary, but then at certain points it would tell you to go to a website and type in a password, and then when you did that, there would be a video that would play, and that would give you the next part of the story. And that was actually really, really cool. I liked that. If this book had done that, it would have been better, but it doesn't. It just has descriptions of the film, and when you do that, you're losing something, and it really took me out of the moment as well. The real reason I took so long to read this book, though, it's just boring. I mean, like I said, the most interesting part is just regular high school life. That is sad. Like, around the halfway point of the book, that's when things start getting weirder, and yeah, honestly, like, that's the point that normally catches my interest and pulls me in and makes me think, yeah, this is a good book, but here it was the opposite. I think I explained earlier why the supernatural stuff is shit, so I'm not really gonna repeat that, but, like, again, it feels like nothing happens. Like I said, this book is, like, when you condense it down, it's about 250 pages, and it's boring as fuck. It never ends. Nothing happens, it seems. Like, there's just, hey, here's a scene. Here's them talking for a minute. Now the scene's over. Here's another scene. Here's a diary entry. She's talking about something. Now it's over. And it just does that for forever. And then occasionally it'll intercut it with stuff from the future, like police reports and everything after the fire. There's a lot of gaps in the story. And I think part of that was the author just trying to build ambiguity, but again, it's pretty obvious that this is really happening, so it kind of defeats the purpose there. And other parts of it is maybe her just trying to leave parts up to your imagination. Well, I personally hate it when authors do that shit. Maybe other people like that, but I don't in the slightest at all. I think the worst part of this book, though, is that it kind of implies that people with mental illnesses are just possessed by evil spirits. That's not really a good attitude to be pushing around. Like, I get that this is fiction, I know, but I mean, like, there's a lot of stigma around mental illness to begin with in pretty much every country, every culture you go to. But just making it so that, like trying to give it this simple explanation and make it seem like there's malevolent beings that are causing this in people, that, yeah, that's just kind of irresponsible to be pushing that out there, and I didn't like that. Like, the majority of the book, that was just sitting in the back of my head, and I was thinking, this is bad, this is wrong, this shouldn't be happening. So overall, shit book. Just don't read it, and I'm definitely not going to Barnes & Noble and just buying shit for the sake of this show anymore, for the sake of my own sanity. I just can't do that. I'm only reading books that I'm legitimately interested in. I guess this is the part where I ask you to subscribe. Please do that, I guess. Bye.